Indicators of deception. Hey everybody, I'm Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. Wouldn't you like to know when somebody's lying to you? Or may not be telling the whole truth? What are some of the indicators? There are indicators. I'm sure you're aware of some indicators. That whole thing, looking up and left, left side of the brain, right side of the brain, creative side, not, rational side, that whole kind of thing. So, what are some other indicators? Well, first off, everybody's unique. Everybody doesn't have the same tells. Everybody has a different level of nervousness and the nervous tics and the things that they do when they are nervous. Some people say a lot. Some people just say a lot in their natural speech patterns, though. I tend to do that, and I really try not to do that, especially on videos, because it sounds horrible and you guys don't like it, right? Yeah. Stress is induced by lying. So what are some indicators of stress? One of them, there's the again. Sorry. One of them is steady, constant eye contact. Like I am not looking anywhere at all other than straight at you. My gaze is locked. No indication of moving my gaze anywhere. What that is an indication of is that somebody may have training on how to avoid lie detection or indicators. So they are trying to lock out all of their potential indicators to give you just this like rock solid statue so that you can't tell one way or the other. Another one is darty, shifty eyes. What's going on? This happened then, and then I did this, and okay, that's a big indicator, right? Yeah, that's an obvious one. I mean, that's not even that big of a thing. Biggest thing though is to pay attention, observe their behaviors. If you know them, then maybe you'll be able to pick up on these even easier because you know what their standard behaviors are versus their tells. All right? Freeze. Completely still. No posturing at all. Like I said, stone statue. You know me. I talk like this. I look around, I move, stuff like that. My natural patterns of movement. You can see my movement, my arm movement, stuff like that. Yeah, some people talk with their hands all the time. So excessive use of hands, though, can be an indicator, or lack of use of hands can be an indicator also, depending on the person, though. Stuttering. Catching up on words. Not necessarily that they have a stutter normally, but they will catch up on words. And that's also not an indicator of lying all the time. Sometimes I get stuck on words, or I brain fart, or something like that. So sometimes it's just normal part of everybody's behavior patterns. So stuttering could be one of them. One, though, is almost always an indicator is sweating. Unless it's really hot out, or you're in a really hot room, of course. Somebody's sweating, they're nervous. Now, they may just be nervous because they're there being questioned by you. If it's a situation where they know they're being questioned. But if you're just talking with somebody, chatting, you just try to keep it relaxed. Talk to somebody. Don't let them know that you're interrogating them, if that's what you're actually doing. So sweating might be. Just one sec. Okay, along with sweating is also breathing. Are they breathing naturally? Are they increased? Is their breathing increased? Is it heavier? Is it labored? Those may be indicators. Hand and mouth covering. I don't know. I don't ever do this, but some people, they kind of like, maybe they've been using an excuse of playing with their beard, but they're kind of covering their mouth because what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep what they're saying from coming out. And it could just be playing with the face or kind of covering up their mouth or even standing like this, or something like this. And typically, I don't like to be rash, or I don't really like to lump people into categories, but typically speaking, women, more often so than men, kind of do the thing with their neck. They'll kind of try to hide the neck. And that may be an indicator of them trying to stop words from coming up. I'm not sure. But it's more prevalent in women. Obviously, topic and or question avoidance or redirecting. If somebody, you're asking them a question about something, like about this, what color this is, then they start talking about like, well, what about this over here? That's green right there. I don't know, just an example. But redirecting or not answering the question or deflecting, they put it back on you. Well, what did you do? What about what you did? Kind of like what some people do, and they say, oh, well, it's not me. It's not politician A. It's, this guy did it also. This last politician B did it also. People do it, right? Okay. And it goes both ways. Not being political. Both parties do it. Everybody does it. Politicians do it all the time. All of them. Offensive. Turntables. Like that. They'll attack you. Steady gaze, trained. I already talked about that. Shifty eyes, constant movement back and forth. Foot movement also, especially if they're seated. And or standing, if they're constantly, moving around, stuff like this. You can tell, like I watch people in the store, and you can always tell, like an adolescent, I pick up on adolescent males, and they're unsure of themselves, right? So that they're in a situation like standing in line somewhere. They can't just stand still. They're moving around, they're like this. They're always moving, or they're moving how they're standing, or they're moving like this, or, they're always moving around because they're unsure of themselves. That may be an indicator. They can't just stand there in line and wait. Some can, but a lot of times they're unsure of themselves, and that unsurety could be stress. It could be an indicator of line. Sorry. Also, foot movement. Another one of them is if you're seated, chairs have feet sometimes. If they have, like a normal chair has 4 feet, 4 legs. They'll do what's called twining. They'll twine their legs around the chair. And what that is, that's a locking themselves in defensive thing, like kind of preparing for battle. And the defensive may be an indicator of lying also. As well as, the whole, this is a defensive posture. It is not open. It is, I'm trying to protect myself, defend myself. Sometimes it's because it's cold. I do it because it's cold out here. But it can be an indicator, an open, accepting stance. It's different than a closed-in defensive stance. Okay, so sometimes it's that. Flushed or red cheeks go along with the sweating kind of sometimes also. The up left glance, creative side of the brain means they're trying to come up with a story to tell you a lie. Irregular behavior than what they normally exhibit. Don't really have any exact examples of that. If you know somebody, you know what their regular behaviors are. So you would know that something's out of the normal. Head movements not matching the answer. That happens sometimes. Literally, I've seen it. Interrogations where you'll be answering a question and the answer is no, and they're like, no. Their mouth is saying one thing, but their head is doing another. Or they'll be like, yes, and their head is kind of like, sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's like, yes, don't do, yes, I'm doing that. And their head is kind of just doing this little bit of a back and forth, meaning no. We all know that means no, and this means yes in humanese, body language. So those are a lot of indicators to look for. There are others, but those are some of the big ones. So if you can use this and when you're vetting your mutual assistance group members, when you're talking to your kids, co-workers, friends, lots of different situations. Just pay attention, be observant. The more observant you are, the more of these kind of things you'll pick up on. It's all about keeping your head on a swivel and or interactions with other people. Law enforcement officers use these tactics all the time. Same with, trained interrogators. People that run lie detector tests, people that, like I said, law enforcement uses this a lot, military uses it a lot, intelligence uses it a lot. There's a lot of different communities that use these tactics and techniques as well as a lot more advanced ones. But these are some of the common ones that are easy for a normal person to learn and to pick up on without going through a lot of training and stuff like that. So this is some of the basics. I thought it might be useful to you guys. But I think it's good knowledge, just in general. So prep a little every day. Remember that. Prepping is living insurance. Remember that. And I haven't mentioned before in a while, fitness is key. Work on your fitness, please. Eat healthy foods, not processed. Cut processed crap out of your life. We still bring it into ours every once in a while, sure. But we try to maintain a level of health, level of fitness, And fitness goes a lot of ways. There's physical fitness, mental fitness, and spiritual fitness. They're all important for big picture, for being a healthy overall individual. Anyway, have a wonderful day, stay strong, and keep on prepping. I love you guys, and blessings to you and yours.